But first, Dennis, do you want to give us all a recap of Under a Hostile Sun, episode 2?
Yeah. Um, Previously on Under a Hostile Sun, the missing miners. Oh, we're in a hostile environment again. Um, the missing miners believed that there was an ancient great empire that existed there and left behind artifacts from which they could gain immense power. I'm not sure. I think you mentioned that, so I wrote it down. But as far as the adventure goes, a helicopter had dropped the party into a hostile environment in search of four astronauts. um, we
Who are
were
the miners?
who are the miners? Yeah, yeah. And So we were exploring, and we were finding them one at a time. Um, Major Canis located one and repaired his suit. And Cola found another and healed him. Um, Karuru encountered a floating. While we were doing that, Karuru encountered a floating disembodied eye, and it impressed itself into her mind, and it wanted to know why we were here. Cola, while that was going on, Cola had encountered discovered a rogue robot, but avoided it. So we're not sure what to make of that one. Then she found another astronaut and healed them. By the after everything was said and done, we did find all four of the astronauts, and they were all safe with us. Karuru got a vision from the eye of a spacecraft having taken off and leaving the people of the mining colony behind. And then she also saw a giant beehive in her vision. When we got back to the surface, we discovered that the mining colony had basically started to revolt, and they were directing their anger at Clarity. A major kind of got in between them and was able to calm the mob, at least for the moment, by saying, "Hey, we're all in this together. Just let us figure it out." And then the major questioned Clarity, who seemed to be hiding something, but still took Major to a computer, which he hacked, and was able to learn that. I think I give me 1 second here. That I was able to find a boardroom meeting video log where we learned that they left the settlement there to die, so they could come back and take the goods later. And while I was in there, I also stabilized the shields of the mining colony. Then Karuru received information from a settler named Apollo, who gave more information about the hive. And she learned that the bee creatures were capable of mutating and faster than light travel. Cola checked on Dr. Carmelo, but I didn't write down what she learned from Dr. Carmelo. But that's where I started to drop off the notes.
One of the things I believe she learned is the fact that the contract that the corporation and the miners had basically gives the corporation the lion's share of the plasma's profits. And it included a provision, kind of in fake generosity, more or less giving the miners most control over any other resources that are found. I say fake generosity because the corporation had a high degree of confidence that there were no other resources to be found. And unfortunately for that fake generosity, it became legally important when other resources, namely the artifacts, were found. And that's why they want the colony to fail, because even if that means, the life support system fails and, a lot of bad things happen, because if the colony fails, they get to make a new colony and make a different legal deal, as it were. So
that is where I had written insert evil corporate politics here in my notes.
Precisely.
And then Apollo had also in Kururu some information that the bees. I think it was Apollo that gave Kururu the information that the bees were at the pole.
Correct.
And the actual location of the hive. And then the last note that I wrote, and I don't know how it fits in because I don't recall, was I wrote artifact depicting floating eye, and I don't know where the artifact. Did we find that artifact, or was that?
You found it at the very end. Artifact having that eye symbol in it. You haven't had too much time to analyze it, but that's more or less where we pick up. And I think we're picking up the story where, and since Samara can't be here, we are going to presume that her character is not with us. I think that makes a narrative sense, since she and Camillo might be doing their thing. So just to make that clear at the forefront. But yeah, so you all have this artifact. You haven't had too much time to analyze it yet. And you all are headed towards the location of where this hive is believed to be. It is in the same solar system as Demeter VI. It is on the moon. The official species name of the bees, at least for now, is the moon mason bee, so named because they make hives out of whole moons. And at this point, I am very curious to know who is driving the ship.
Who usually drives it?
So, high tech and high agility tend to be good ship stats to have.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm 14 for tech.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot higher than mine. So.
All right.
I had 14 agility, but I feel like tech probably trumps agility in this case.
Go ahead and make a tech check for me, Blanca.
Okay, so remind me I do a slash roll.
Slash roll
1d20.
D20.
Okay, slash roll 1d20. Okay.
Oh, while she's doing that.
A 1? That's perfect.
Nice.
That's
good.
perfect.
Wow.
Nice.
So,
Very good.
and again, for our listeners, it's a roll under system, so we love nat 1s and we don't like nat 20s in this system. So,
Okay.
as you approach... Go ahead.
Why? So I missed the part. I don't know if it was mentioned. So why specifically are we looking for these bees at the moment?
Basically, the eye kind of mentally asked, why are you all here? And, mentally, it was communicated that we're here to save the miners. And the eye more or less impressed very strongly. The eye didn't... The way I'm envisioning mental communication is not words, right? Just concepts.
Sure.
But basically, there's something on this hive that the eye deems to be of importance. And...
To the rescue mission.
To the rescue mission, yeah.
Got it. Okay. Cool.
So...
Oh, I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
So, I still remember that right before we ended the game last time, I rolled and I was able to tame a bee, and the bee was with us. So is the bee still with us today?
Yes, it is. A creature has a few characteristics. One is its stat pools. So in this case, it has a stat pool in agility and a stat pool in focus. You can spend a point from your stat pool to re-roll a die roll that relates to that stat, right? So if you fail your agility roll, you can now spend a point of agility to re-roll it. And that would represent that the creature is helping you with the roll in some way. You can see if your first roll fails before spending it. And previously we had a more mathy way of doing things, but I think just allowing them to be points you spend for a re-roll will be a good system, so we're going to try that out. If you want to get those points back, presumably so you can spend them again, you'll need to feed the worker bee 2 strange sap as food. That's its food needs. And it also has, creatures also have a buff that they provide, just kind of a special effect that's always active. In this case, the hostile environment scene is going to be, and we'll discuss that more once you're inside the hive proper, is going to be a little easier for you all because the bee is going to be able to pass you off as a fellow bee. So you won't have to worry about certain things you might have had to worry about otherwise. Your particular bee, just to clarify, is about the size of a wolf. So it's a worker bee, not a queen bee, but this is the image I have for right now. So it is smaller than your space shuttle if it's in your space shuttle. But do those rules for stat pools make sense? Maybe.
I think it'll probably solidify once you're actively doing something with them.
Mm-hmm.
Although I guess that's what okay. Yeah, so for me, I think I'll have to like do it.
Sure.
For it to all come together.
Cool. So, and you also have your friendly molten beetle. So we have our zoology starting. Blanca is in control of the worker bee. And Blanca, can you pronounce your character's name once more for us?
Yes, it's Kururu. So you don't roll it very hard. It's just like a roll off the tongue. Kururu.
Kururu.
Yes.
Somewhat.
Close enough.
Sorry, that's how I pronounce it.
No, all good, all good. I'm very bad at rolling R's lightly or strongly.
Something that I learned in school. One time I had a microbiology lab with a professor and I asked him, how do you pronounce it? And he said, it doesn't really matter the pronunciation as long as you know who it is or what it is. So your pronunciation is perfect.
Oh,
so no worries about it.
Oh, and how can I forget D6? How can I forget our beloved D6? So,
We've got D6, we've got the beetle, we've got a bee.
That's right, the collection is growing.
Everybody gets along. Oh, and we have a lizard.
That's true. Your speed is... Oh, that's the one big things that are going to change there. We are no longer using hex maps. We're going to just use normal square maps. So that hopefully will make movement easier. And...
D6 is nice. I like D6.
And for our Beast Rider, everyone has a speed of 5. Our Beast Rider, the exception, has a speed of 6. And you also have 4 points of extra movement that you can spend over the course of a scene. So you move 6 and something's really important, you can choose to spend 2 of those and move an additional 2, then you're down to those 2 extra points, right? So you have like 4 points of sprint speed that you can spend.
Okay.
So that was a very good tech roll. You all, once you get close to the planet, suddenly the ship starts acting weird, and you all start going for a crash, at least so it would seem. But Kururu is able to stabilize the craft, and with that... As you're on this lunar surface, You have, it's a very large moon, so for our purposes, you have, Earth-like, or, Earth-sufficient gravity. Maybe it's a little lighter, but your spacesuits are heavy for this mission, so it all balances out. And you see, from the safety of your spaceship, we'll say that right now, like, off the map is in the safety of your spaceship, you see a bunch of explorers, to your surprise, outside, and and these ones in particular, from their hand gestures, they are having one heck of a heated argument. Even with the clunkiness of spacesuits, you can read the body language very well. They are very angry with each other, and the argument is escalating. And even more to your surprise, there is a life support bubble here. You thought this moon was uninhabited. It's a fairly small life support bubble, meaning it is actually this size. It's about 40 feet across. So it's that's where you camp, right? On the lunar surface, right? It's not a mining city like Demeter VI. But you have this little camping lunar bubble, and you have this argument going on. What would people like to do?
The explorers, there's no markings on their suits or anything that indicates they're a part of any particular organization or
not that you can
anything
tell.
like that.
No.
Nothing recognizable. Okay. How far away are they?
They're close by. So we can actually use the squares. So they're 15 feet away from the ship.
Okay.
They have noticed that the ship has landed. Evidently, whatever they're arguing over is more important than the fact that the spaceship has just landed. But they have noticed you.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, are we allowed to help them?
You're allowed to do anything a human character can do. What would you like to do?
So, like, we could go up to them and try to offer some peacemaking?
Sure. Once you leave the ship, you are in an acidic environment, so we start rolling dice, but hopefully you can resolve the argument quickly before anything bad happens. Would you like to do that?
Sure. So let me look at my...
And this time I'm actually going to use the initiative tracker. So let me add turns for you all. And it might be still somewhat informal, but I need to make sure I keep the environment itself in the turn order, and sometimes I neglect to do that because the environment itself doesn't have a token, right, to remind me, that creature hasn't moved yet. So let me... actually, can everyone... no, we don't want to do that. Give me a moment. Settings. Add turn. Add turn. Not here. Add turn. And this little hazard sign is my representation of the environment in the turn order.
Okay.
The Kururu has some compassion, right? Because that's what we were lacking in our...
You're right, yes. I have compassion, and my stat for that is 16.
Cool.
Beautiful. Okay.
So go ahead and move your token and tell me what you do.
Okay, so let me try. Okay, so how many squares? 10?
5, and you can be, you're in the ship, so you're all close together. So yeah.
Okay, let me go closer. Let's see. Okay, so I'm right here, right? Okay, 1, 2, 3, right here.
Cool.
I move. Did you see how I move it? Yeah. Okay. Right there, and then I do a roll.
What do you say to them?
Is there any way that we can solve your conflict?
Go ahead and roll compassion.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. $13. Woo! You. Yes, it worked.
The settlers kind of look. Who are you? You know what? No, don't worry about that. All the transformers are failing, and we need help getting them back online before the life support bubble fails. And so you'll see on your map there are 5 transformers, and according to them, all 5 of them are starting to malfunction. And you can actually start to see the life support bubble. Inside is still good, still safe inside, but it's starting to show some strain on the outside as it tries to keep the acid of the environment out of itself.
Is there any mechanic close by so that we can fix it?
And that brings us to our Beast Rider. You have comms. Where's my initiative tracker? You hear that...
Yeah. I'm going to say I would have followed her out anyway. Just in case things went sideways. But I hear that things are sort of at least they're not hostile towards us yet. So yeah, I mean, me with my crack technology, I'm still going to ask them, so what do we need to do to get them back online?
And at this point, the astronaut with the purple dot kind of turns to the other astronaut and says, well, if Emmett would share more information with us, or no, his name is Emmett, if Ratzone, what did I name them? Yeah, if Ratzone right here had shared more information with us, we would actually know what was wrong with the generators. My name's Emmett. We just need to open them up and find out.
Well, now it might be a good time to start sharing.
And Razones, I am absolutely shocked and dumbfounded at these accusations against my character. I have shared all the info I have, which sadly is nothing. But we need to just figure stuff out. Let's get started.
All right. Well, I mean, we kind of just have to follow their lead because we just got here. We don't know anything about these generators. We know nothing about none of this. So
that's not quite true, actually. As explorers, you have a basic understanding of how life support bubbles and their support generators work. Obviously, you would prefer to not be in the middle of this situation without more information, but you are able to open one up and try to figure out what you can figure out.
All right. So we have one here. Is that right? This one here.
Mm-hmm.
This one here. Okay, I can only see. Hold on. Let me fix my screen here because I can only see a few of them. All right. So presumably we're gonna open this one first since this is the closest. And so with our basic knowledge, do we just assume that they're all linked? Are they in some sort of like a circuit? Or,
you can go over to the generator and roll tech to try and get it, back as it should be. You can also roll a focus for investigation to try and see if you can figure out more about this situation.
And maybe I'll do that because my tech is garbage, but my focus is pretty good.
Cool.
So I'm going to do that. Also be over here. I mean, if they moved in that direction, I don't know. Maybe they're still sitting there bickering. And what the hell is what the hell's Big Dog doing? Rolled a 4 under.
4 under, perfect. So for focus, you discover something weird about this generator. You're on an acid planet, so the first hypothesis would be something about the acid on the planet's atmosphere would be corroding the generator. There is no acid damage, or at least no primary acid damage at all. It appears that part of the generator's panels have been clawed open.
Clawed open. Okay. But that's just the panels. Is there evidence that the clawing open caused the damage, or that's just like the first step? Something got inside of here.
That is an interesting question, and you rolled well. So since you asked exactly the right question, what's interesting is you see the claw damage, but then you see part of its fueling cell has been manipulated clearly with opposable thumbs. Meaning, the creature's claws are big. There's no way they would reasonably be able to take that apart and put it back together without damaging it. So something clawed it open, and then either had a friend with opposable thumbs or had opposable thumbs itself and took something from the fuel cell.
Oh, Lord.
And it's barking in the background. Just
Yeah, it is. It's mad. Okay, so I relay this information to our esteemed fellow explorers. And by the way, what is this? This here.
I'm not seeing your ping.
This thing. See what I'm moving around?
Oh, that is old information. Thank you.
Okay,
for
good.
that.
Okay, cool. All right, because that was distracting me. I was like, is that a creature? I couldn't tell what was going on there. All right, so I just relay that information quickly to Emmett and what's the other guy? Red Zone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's a movement and an action. So Major Canis, we have a situation. What would you like to do?
I'll go over. After hearing Talisha discuss that with the folks and discovering that it's been torn open and manipulated. Coincidentally, I also have opposable thumbs. So I'm going to go over and see if I can do, or at least see if it's repairable. One that's open. I'm going to assume that the others are probably in a similar situation, but that first one I'm going to see what I can do with it.
And again, you're off the map currently, so you have enough movement to get to the generator. We'll start tracking movements of squares once everyone's on the map more closely. So
is it safe to assume, because I'm doing tech stuff, that I have like a toolkit that I carry around with me, or
you have
basic
a toolkit? I imagine it's all stolen, as you are a smuggler from different shipments.
Right. Yes, I'm sure I probably have bought something. I keep buying the bigger and bigger bags as I keep putting more stolen goods into it. Which will I roll tech?
Go ahead and roll tech.
Right. I rolled a 14 under 17.
Perfect. So I will get our nice little marker. One generator stabilized of 5.
Ooh.
And make a focus check for me. Free action.
Big dog?
Big dog, yep.
Okay. Fine. Try it again. 2 under 14. Focus, 14, yeah.
Perfect. You notice that you stepped within a few feet of some unstable ground. There's like the slimy version of quicksand on this world. You realize you can't presume that the ground is safe. but you didn't step in it. You stepped adjacent to it. So far, so good.
All right.
All right, that brings us to the environment. So, I need everyone to make me a roll against their stamina. You realize that the fumes of the environment, your suit's filtering as much as it can, but some are getting through. Make me a disease resist. Just roll against your current stamina.
Wait, what does that mean to roll against your current stamina?
So roll a d20 and see if you can get equal or under your current stamina.
So if I got 13, if I get below 13 or 13, that's good?
That's right, 13 or under.
Okay, 13 or
You
under.
apply your disease resist bonus.
So that's the rule that's changed. It's just stamina now.
Oh.
But if you
okay.
Yeah, but if you fail, you can spend a point to re-roll if you have a disease resist bonus.
Okay, and we roll 1d20?
Yep, always 1d20.
Okay. Phew, I got 11.
Cool.
I got exactly 13, and my stamina's 13. So
all right, you're
close
good.
Shave.
You're
I got
good.
a 3 under 12.
Good, all good. And
Rolling for the D6 also.
no, D6, is an alien creature. It doesn't know why you all are stressed out about this. This is a nice planet. All right.
Okay, well.
That is good. All right. That was for something I know about, and this is your opportunity die. So for Arwen, instead of having a set amount of opportunity, basically every 2 turns, the die size is going to get smaller, and we just keep rolling to see if there's going to be a safe next round. If I roll a 1, then you all are going to take some damage. And so right now, your suit's just gone into the environment, so it's a big opportunity die, D100, only 1 in 100 chance. Roll 20 wouldn't mess us over and give us a 1 in 100, right? And it didn't, 63. So right now, the party is fine. And with that, Arwen, as the Beast Rider, we'll have you the top of the order due to your speed. What would you like to do?
Okay, so, did it seem like... Okay, well, first thing I want to ask Amit and Red Zone. This one is fixed. How much time do you think we have before the rest of them blow?
We don't know. We're just very nervous. In game mechanics, they probably give you some techno babble. In game mechanics, next round will be a D100 opportunity die. Then there'll be 2 rounds of D20s, 2 rounds of D12s, 2 rounds of D10s, right? So the die keeps getting smaller, meaning that the chance of rolling a 1 is just constantly rising.
Okay, so it's just going to be based on that. It's not necessarily that there's like a separate time frame that we're worried about.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So then, the repair was relatively simple.
Repair was
From what
relatively
I
simple.
observed.
One was.
And I can one. This is a one person steed, right? My lizard.
Oh, your lizard? What about it?
Yeah. One person at a time. Stick 2 people on it.
Oh, let's experiment with it. Rules as written. It's one at a time, but for kicks, we'll allow you to ferry 1 person. We'll see if you like that.
All right, cool. Well, then I want to ferry Big Dog, so that we can get this operation, moving with some more alacrity here. So, I turn to Candace and I say, "Hop on. We're gonna move."
Well, Big Dog will approach. It's a giant lizard, right? flying lizard?
Giant lizard. Just kind of looks like a big ass kimono dragon.
It doesn't fly, right? It's running.
It's running, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on carefully because I don't get along well with beasts of any kind, and I think it's because my size tends to intimidate sometimes. So I will
Not
climb
this
on,
guy.
and I will be riding on the back, and I will grip Talisha's jacket on the sides. Let me know if I'm gripping too hard, because I'm white knuckling it right now.
All right. I don't know if there's another way that his grip could be improved. I don't know about the saddle or that kind of things. We didn't really talk about that. But just whatever situation seems to make the most sense in terms of safety. He's not going to bounce off into some slimy quicksand or whatever, or reduce the chance of that happening. So once we are on board, or he's on board and he's hopefully locked in, and I'm going to take off for this. This is a bunch of slime right here, huh?
The blue is fine. The green is slime.
Okay. The blue's fine. Okay. All right. Then I'm just gonna beeline. I can't see how many. Fun was not. I can't see how many squares that is. Hold on. Good thing.
You have a speed to get there.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna bomb right on over here, and he's with me, so I'm here too.
Perfect. And for an action, do you want to do anything while you're there?
Oh, because that was just move. Yeah, just open this bad boy, jump off, and help him open this bad boy up, or at least examine the situation, because it might not be exactly the same as what we found over here. So yeah, just take a quick surveillance to see what the situation is with this one.
Go ahead and make a focus check.
Roll. All right. 13 under 16.
13 under 16. You see that this one, someone tried to open its fuel thing as well, but left the concoction behind. And it was clearly, left behind, deemed not worthy of taking. And so that's an interesting difference. You don't have an explanation why yet, but that's an interesting difference.
Okay. But it's still jacked up?
It's still messed up because, they didn't put the generator back together after they rejected stealing from it. So.
Okay. Alright. Then I guess he's going to make his move when he can make his move.
Mm-hmm.
Fiddling with his tools right now. Oh, he can go right now? Oh no, he's after Kuru.
After Kuru, yeah. So Kuru, during this time, are you trying to dig for more info, or what would you like to be doing?
Let's see. So I'm wondering if we could actually get inside that bubble, or if it's not safe to go in there yet.
You can get inside the bubble, but it does take like a full turn to do so. So the upside of going into the bubble is you can get to the other side of the river without going into the river. But, it does take like a full turn to safely get into the bubble, without letting the environment into the bubble.
Yes, okay. So I can actually ask the two people who were fighting with each other. Maybe I can ask them if they know any other information that can help us.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and roll compassion.
Compassion, okay. Try. Oh no, not this time. It didn't work. My compassion is 16 and I rolled a 18.
Yeah, so Emmett and Red Zone are very much unhappy with each other. And Emmett, uh, Emmett is going to move over. He's not sure if he wants to cross the river to the other side, go in the bubble or what, but he moves this way. Rat Zone will probably just kind of storm off the other way. He's going into the bubble, then maybe cross later. But, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Do you want to stay at your current location, or would you like to move somewhere?
I want to move with Beast Rider and Big Dog.
Cool. And you have enough space to get there, so go ahead and
Okay.
go ahead and move yourself there.
Okay.
Big Dog. What would you like to do?
I'm good. So this one obviously is going to have a little, since it's going to have a little bit of different repair on it, or need some different work. I'd like to do two things. I'd like to first determine whether or not I can fix it and try fixing it, and the second thing would be, if it's possible to do on this turn, try to determine why that piece was left behind.
Cool. And since you're right there and they're both tech related checks, go ahead and make 2 tech rolls. But tell me, if one tech roll succeeds and one fails, which one do you want to? Yeah, well, tell me which one you're doing first, right? Yeah.
The repair, because
Okay.
that's the priority.
Cool.
I rolled a 6 under 17.
Perfect. All right, it's stabilized for now, and now go ahead and roll to research.
And would that also be tech, or would that be?
Investigation is usually focused, but if you're, if you're looking specifically for like a technological clue into the situation, I can allow tech.
Okay. And I rolled a 13 under 17.
13 under 17. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Interestingly, da-da-da. You realize that the first generator's kind of fuel formula was strange sap focused. This one's formula is arcane algae focused, and you wonder if that's the reason why one fuel was taken and the other wasn't. Maybe the different type of fuel was deemed more valuable in the other generator. So, does that make sense?
It does.
Alrighty.
Whoever is doing this might be collecting strange sap.
Alright, let's see if we get above a 3. We get 3. Alrighty. Exciting times, exciting times. And sadly, Arwen, you're top of the order, so kind of a gas geyser opens up beneath you.
Oh, yay.
Go ahead and roll stamina. Let me know if you make it.
Okay.
Whoa.
We're under 13.
Alright, you don't take any damage. You make your save. And now everyone, including you, Arwen, everyone, go ahead and make me a save just for generally being in the environment. Against stamina.
Okay.
5 under.
Cool.
I didn't.
Mhm.
Mine is 14 and I got 18.
Alrighty. And Big Dog?
Yeah. 18s keep biting you.
Yes.
Sorry, it's on mute. 13 over 12.
13 over 12. Alright, even will be right.
Things are
Dog.
starting to get a little spicy.
So, Big Dog, we'll presume you were near the, the thing. and then you just feel very gassy, and you start moving towards the river. Again, kind of losing your sense of direction and kind of forgetting why you're there. And
Bring the whole way.
It's not usually what gassy means, but all right.
Well, you like you're on gas, right? You've been to the dentist, and they put the thing on your nose that make you numb.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone had that experience where they like put the gas nozzle on your nose?
Yep.
Nope. Okay.
Fun.
But you get very you feel somewhat hyperventilated, and it's trippy. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's not bad either. But yeah, so two of you kind of moved in random directions. Big Dog, you're right on the edge of the pit of slime. Make an agility check for me.
All right. I'm pretty agile. Maybe not. Okay. I've got a 12, and it's a 12.
Perfect. So you do not fall into the river of slime. So that might be a good thing. And with that... Oh, and now general opportunity roll to see if spacesuits are overwhelmed. Almost a 1, but you got... that's a good question. How does... It is an 11. Okay, Roll20 does consider that to be an 11. Cool. There's sometimes a discrepancy on dice. So the environment is fine. Next round will be D20s. Things are heating up. And Arwen. Arwen, remind me your character's name again. I'm blanking for some reason. Talisha. What is Talisha like to be doing right now, seeing that her friends are now acid tripping, basically?
I don't know what Karudo's doing necessarily, because he's way back here. What is this that I'm on top of right now?
There's basically a lot of acids and gases under the ground, so like a little gas smoke geyser opened up under your feet. There's a 30% chance that the ground's unstable, so there's a 30% chance that might happen.
Okay. Well, in that case, but I'm fine. I'm not gassy at the moment. So, but I see that Canis is stumbling around trying to take an acid bath. So, I think I'm probably gonna just ride over here to try to snatch him from the brink. Make sure that he doesn't go tumbling. Let's make this a little Wild West. So let's see here. I'm gonna try to make this fun.
So you think that if you can get across in one turn, you won't take damage. But if you have to, basically, if you start your turn in the acid, it has its effect. So if you can move all the way through it and be safely to the other side, you'll be fine. But you probably don't want to chill in there, for extended time.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't gonna do that. I was gonna ask you. I can't really tell how much space there is between him and the generator. So behind him,
not much.
I'm saying okay. So I couldn't ride over here, basically snatch him and then kind of just try to get over to this side, right?
You can't go around the generator that way unless you're willing to go into the liquid. But again, if you don't end your turn there, you won't have to worry about potential, other things.
Okay, well then, that seems like the most expeditious thing, because going across, it's a lot farther, a lot longer to hang out in the acid. So I want to just try to ride over here and grab him, and then keep pull him away from the slime bath here.
Fair enough. If you're moving him as your action, make me a might check.
Cool. That's what I was picturing, riding up, reaching down, snatching him, like a cowboy move, throw him on the back of the lizard, or at least just drag him away, so that he's not falling in the acid. Okay, so might check. So what is that? Where is that? Ah, that's okay. 14, 11 under.
Perfect.
Phew.
So you're able to relocate Major Canis to a safer square. And is there anything else you want to do?
I just want want to check in with him to make sure that he's not completely, like, out of his gourd here. So,
He's fine.
Big dog, you with us? Okay.
Basically, if you get gassed out, you start wandering in a random direction. That random direction could potentially be towards the acid. So it's sort of and it also, if you have limited movement and you want to get somewhere and you spend you go 2 hexes or 2 squares the wrong way, time is lost. But he is, functional as a explorer.
Since my senses are being affected by being gassy, when you snatched me by my collar and pulled me over there, I had no idea what had happened or what was going on. I was at the generator 1 second and not at the generator the next, and I turn and I look at you, and I'm just dumbfounded and just blinking my eyes erratically because I don't know what's going on.
Okay. Well, then in that case, all right. I'm just gonna keep one eye on him, make sure that he's not going to keep wandering off. But then I also want to check in with Guru.
Yes.
Just because I can't, like, now my view of her is blocked by the generator, I'm guessing. I don't know. So, yeah. I just want to ping her.
What do you radio over comm to tell Kururu?
Say that again.
Are you with us?
Yes, I am. I'm
funny.
over here. Should I roll or anything or move?
Right now you're just talking. So.
Oh, I just moved in. Yes, I'm over here. I'm okay. I'm not sinking. I'm not gassy. I'm pretty good. I think I'm right next to the. I don't remember his name. Was it Eber? Emmett, I mean?
Emmett? Yeah.
Yes, I'm with Emmett.
So they're kind of far, aren't they?
Actually, no, Emmett's right here, so.
I'm closer to the first generator. And I just wanted to ask him if there's anything we can do to, survive this before we get inside of the slime.
Mm-hmm. He says if you're willing to kind of spend a whole turn, he can get you into the bubble, and then on your next turn you can try to move across to get to the other side of the lake through the life support bubble.
Okay, so we can go through the life support bubble?
Right, but it's a full turn to go through all the procedures, opening the bubble, decontamination, get you in, now you can move across, right?
Okay. Yes, but I am safe for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, based on that information, do I think that it's faster for me to just try to skip to my loot across Acid River than wait for her to try to break in to the bubble and do whatever they're going to do?
Yeah, it would be one turn for you to move all the way across the river. So if you want, we can treat your movement as you picked Major Canis up, and then used your 4 points of bonus. Well, I mean, if you were here, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't want to end, so you'd spend a point of your bonus movement to dash onto safe land with Major Canis and get there.
Okay. All right. So that's the move then.
Cool. And I think with picking up Major Canis, moving through the acids, I think that's good for now. Blanca, are you spending the whole turn to get into the bubble?
Yes, I am. I'll give it a try. How much do I have to roll?
You can do it. Agility? It's just time consuming.
Do I need to do agility?
Nope, you're good.
No. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you have a helper hero helping you in. It's a standardized process, so there's no chance your character's gonna fail. But again, it's just a matter of time, getting in. Kana, so you've been, at least from your subjective experience, warped across the river.
Am I still basically under the influence, or am I
I
clear-headed
mean,
at this point?
you're not taking a penalty to die rolls. Do you feel a little trippy? Are your thoughts about the universe a little more profound now? Maybe, but you can act.
All right. Well, they would have to be more profound because he doesn't normally think about the universe at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
All you need is love, man. All you need is love.
yeah. So at this point, I'm going to follow the same procedure. I'm going to first determine what the problem is and if I can fix it, or determine if I can fix it and actually fix it. And then I also want to do the investigation to determine if my theory about collecting strange saps is legit, or if this counters what was done from the other two.
Cool. Roll me tech for both.
Oh, a 2 under 17 and a 16 under 17.
Perfect. So yes, this one is... What do my notes say? This one is arcane algae as well, and it's not rated. Or rather it is rated, but, nothing was taken. So your hypothesis is holding strong.
Right, and I will relay that information to both Talisha and Karuru. I believe, folks. I believe that these generators were being broken into to harvest the strange sap inside. At least the ones that had strange sap in them.
We do not have a new geyser. And double 1 is not a 1. So the environment doesn't, just by brute force damage your spacesuits yet. That is the environment's turn. Since we have kind of two... Arwen, you go on ahead. What would you like to do? You're top of the order.
Yeah, we'll just keep making our way around the circle here.
So yeah, show me where you
generator
move.
number 3. In here.
Right there. Yep, that's what I was afraid of. Okay, cool. Make me a might save.
Oh shoot. Okay. It doesn't look like there's anything crazy, right? What is that?
Again, quicksand. There's a few spots on the board I've pre-marked with quicksand. So, and the way you moved, it looked like you moved through the square. So, yeah, because you went.
Yeah, I probably did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never good when you hear your GM
14.
say that was
14 on
of.
14.
All right. So, again, your creature falls into the goo. You push through. It doesn't suck you in. Dennis is with you. So we will move. So you are not in the quicksand. And Blanca, you are now inside this life support bubble. And what is your character doing?
So I am exploring what's inside the bubble. Like, is there kind of like grass? We could see the sky with clouds.
Yeah. Make me a focus check for investigation.
Okay. So let me go ahead and check my stats.
Mm-hmm.
Focus. Let's see. I have to get below 13. Let's see. Yes, I was successful. 6 under 13.
So you see, it has a lot of, plant life meant to kind of support the alchemy needs of, this is clear for a short-term settlement given how small it is. but it has good stock of various plants to serve the alchemy needs of this research party. But in addition to plant life, you also see a lot of lab equipment, and clearly some sort of science experiment is being envisioned as the reason for this environment. And you also see a lot of fellow scientists who are hiding in the bubble, since they aren't quite trained to handle things outside the bubble. And you hear one of them whisper saying something to the effect of, I think Radzone's forging the data. Something just doesn't add up. Something's wrong. He's
okay. What's his name?
Radzone?
Radzone?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, Radzone. Okay. Okay, so let's see. I consider myself an alchemist, so I could... Not an alchemist, sorry. A chemist who is an apothecary. So I want to ask Emmett if he knows any additional information that can be beneficial for us and the team.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Go ahead and make me a compassion check.
Okay.
We'll say he gave you the comms to... He has suit armor
Phew.
for this.
12 under 16. So that was successful.
He actually gets a private communication line to you and says that there is a laptop, for lack of a better term, a data pad, whatever the future uses for computing. And while Radzone is distracted, he wants you to steal it. He says it's for the good of all of us. He must be hiding something. Please trust me. We'll let you think on that. And
okay.
With that, Big Dog, what would you like to do?
I'm close enough to this second one. Second one. The fourth one to examine and fix.
Yep, go ahead. We can kind of pop you there. Yep.
There we go. Okay. So I'll do more of the same. Try to fix it, and then I think at this point, if I've already determined that the strange sap is what they were looking for, I won't keep exploring that. The 3 under 17 for the fix.
3 under 17. Very good. This one is interesting. You find a blood sample, or not a blood sample, but you find blood. Some bit of blood was left behind in this generator, and you are able to repair it. Repair the generator, but you do notice that.
All right. And would I have anything in my kit, like a container of any kind, where I could take a sample of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'd like to take a sample of that blood.
Sounds good.
Good.
We get to the environment. 30% chance of geyser. Geyser does not happen. And we did D20 last time. This is the last D20. Opportunity remains. Next round we're going to start throwing D12s. And that brings us to the top of the order. If we do run out of opportunity, right now only 2, Blanca's safe inside the dome, right? So she won't take damage as her spacesuit is no longer under strain, but Talisha and Big Dog, your suits are still straining to keep you all going. And Talisha, what would you like to do?
Is there another entry into here on this side, or is it just on the one side?
There's entries on both sides, yes.
Okay. So I want to make sure I know where that entry is. Can I see it from here?
We will define, an entry can be opened somewhere, where the green line is.
Okay. Cool, so that's pretty close. Alright. Excellent. So I want to get Big Dog over here to this one so that he can do work on that. And then while he's doing that, this is going to be another move though. I wanted to see if I could go over here and figure out, can I get in here? I know how to get in here.
Yeah, if you want to start the opening process so Big Dog can just run in. Yeah, if you run out of your normal movement, we can burn a few squares of your special movement. I'm sure you'd be able to get there.
Okay.
Cool.
Let's do that. While he's working on the generator, I will start opening this thing up.
So, Blanca, someone you just met has asked you, for the good of the colony, to steal a computer. What would you like to do?
Okay. Okay, so there's a secret in the computer, right?
That's what he implies.
Okay. What are the options that I can do? I either could steal the computer or not steal it? Or who can I ask?
You can do anything a human can attempt. So what would your character narratively like to do?
Okay. So I would like to ask him, where is the character that you need the laptop from?
He's given you the information for where the laptop is. If you want to steal it, we're going to kind of roll either agility or focus to kind of see, are you successful of not being noticed when you steal it. But yeah, it's the choice. Do you want to...
I don't want to risk those. No, I don't want to steal it yet because my agility and focus are lower. So I don't think that's very safe. And another thing, I don't know the consequences of stealing the computer. So like if I do steal it, even though it is beneficial for us, if I do steal it, that means that I might get unwanted attention towards me, which could be even more damaging to both Talisha and Big Dog. So I want to wait until they're with me in the life bubble and after they fix the generators.
Sounds good. So you decide you don't want to steal the computer.
No.
I imagine your Rabzone is still in the bubble. He's probably heading across, doing whatever he does. You also have, the lab workers that you overheard. Are you trying to talk anyone up? Are you trying to do anything else while you're in there? Or are you kind of just sitting tight waiting for your friends to come back?
I have a question. Can I help them get through the door of the dome? Is there a possibility that I can actually ease that for them?
That's interesting. Because Talisha is spending her turn here. I think, because Talisha, besides moving, you didn't take an action last time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it will be open by next turn. So I think that process is going well underway.
Okay. What happens if I move closer to the other end of the dome?
You can get a better view of your friends if you like.
Yes. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that.
Go ahead and move 5 squares wherever you see fit.
5. Okay.
And that brings us to Big Dog. One last generator to explore.
All right. A 10 under 17, the fix. And do I notice anything strange at this one?
At this
I'll
one.
roll a 4 under 17.
Cool. You see, kind of, how do I phrase? This one is Strange Sap, so it is rated as well, further confirming the collecting Strange Sap theory. And yeah, that is basically what you would get from this one. So yeah, it's just further confirmation that Strange Sap was the target of the fuel raids.
Gotcha. All right, and then once I do that, can I then move into the or follow Talisha into the dome?
Sure.
Talisha's in the dome right now, or working on opening the dome?
Oh yeah, that's true. So she's spending this round opening the dome. So you can move next to her, but it is
Yeah.
next turn that the dome is open, which means we get to roll the d12, and we get a 2, but a 2 is not a 1. So you are able to get in before your spacesuits give out, and you are in a safe environment.
Yay!
Woohoo!
We made it!
Yay!
Okay, friends, I need your help. Emmett told me, or wait, hold on. Ratzone said that we need to steal a computer for secret information that can be helpful.
Wait, wasn't it Emmett who said that?
Yeah.
Emmett's the one making the accusation. Radzone is the one being accused.
Oh.
Okay.
Major
Major says, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Okay,
Major
so
says, what's the problem?
So, why do we need to steal the computer, though?
Emmett just said that he thinks Radzone's hiding something. Maybe he blames Radzone for this situation with the broken generators. He believes, evidence to be found. But yeah, I mean, it could be nothing, right? Emmett could just be wrong. But yeah, you don't know what you'll find. So the question is it worth taking the risk to steal?
Well, except for the fact that Ratzone was also pretending like he didn't know anything about what was going on with the generators, which Emmett was suspicious of immediately, right? So it seems like that's an extension, maybe, of that conflict that we happened upon.
Yes.
So where is this laptop?
It's with some lab gear. Again, you all can make an attempt with
Focus.
agility or focus.
Alright.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and roll focus. Focus. And that is 14 under 16.
Perfect. So you all are able to snag the machine. And with that, we just had a hostile environment scene. So again, just kind of play test feedback. Did that run smoothly? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What worked? What didn't?
I'll offer up some input. I liked it and I didn't like it. So what I liked about it was I liked that you, even though it might seem, or it might at first seem repetitive to tackle all these generators, you made it interesting by, each one was different. There was something unique for the most part. So it didn't feel repetitive. The hostile environment part is the part, it's not that I don't like it. It's not as tense as I would like it or would expect it to be. If it's literally a hostile environment, I almost feel like, just rolling the 1 isn't enough to really feel under pressure. I almost feel like, if it's a 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3 is if you know what I mean, because and it ups the stakes, especially when you start getting to those smaller dice.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that would be just my suggestion. But I like the idea of that opportunity is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I almost feel like that the threat needs to be bigger at the same time.
Cool. So maybe even just start with a smaller, like, so the D100 may just start with a D20, right? So you're already at 5% to begin with, and then
would be good, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Do we like squares more than hexes, I presume?
Yes.
I do.
Yeah, it's easier to process the squares.
Yeah. Let me also add to that, because that was something that I was thinking about earlier when I was riding the edge of the slime there. who had me roll I don't remember exactly what it was, just to make sure that I didn't fall in. Um,
Agility.
Agility. I like that. I like that if it was questionable as to what square I'm on, um, rolling for my fate on that square was a great way of resolving that. And I think that if you did that every time, uh, who doesn't like rolling? I mean, it's just I really I thought that was a nice way of resolving that one.
Okay. More
Much better than dealing with the hexes.
right. Play with the shiny math rocks. Sounds good.
The one thing that I'm still trying to sort of handle on is all of the animals that we have. Because there were multiple times where I was like, what's D6 doing? What's the beetle doing? What's the bee doing? And
Yes.
just assuming that they're all just kind of following along, or I don't know. I don't know if they were following me, if they were following Ukuru, or, who they were following, or if they were just wandering off grazing the slime or whatever. So that, and I feel like that has kind of been a thing for me for the whole, like all through the whole phase, from the first time we played until now. Still trying to really like figure out how they are fitting into like what we're doing, kind of from turn to turn.
Right. So again, for any failed dice roll, you could spend one of their stat points to have them help you, and re-roll that stat roll. I guess kind of like the metaphor though I would use though is if you were an Arctic explorer on Earth, right, and you have your pack of wolves that you're using to pull your sled, if your tent breaks and you're fixing your tents so you don't freeze to death, it's not a very wolfy thing. So the wolf really just has to watch you all fix the tents or fix the generators, right? These are animals. They're not, for lack of a better term, they're not Pokemon, right? They're not gonna cross that boundary between person and not person, right? Like Pikachu is like, you don't give Pikachu the right to vote, but Pikachu is also like a human character almost in the anime, right? So these creatures are animals, right? And if you're doing something that's not in their animal wheelhouse, at least as the rules are currently written, they are kind of there. And I think one thing I hope we get to see sometime in this playtest is using their stat pools, right? So definitely keep track of what stat pools you have. So like the Molten Beetle, I believe, has might. So if you ever need to retry a might roll, you have your Molten Beetle slam itself against the slime or whatever it is you're breaking down. So
Okay, so basically they're kind of there, break glass in case of emergency, right? It will provide some kind of aid if all else fails, we don't know what else to do, we're screwed, we could potentially turn to one of the animals and have them help us out of something. But until then, they're just hanging out.
Yeah, pretty much. If you give them like a simple command an animal can do, and I deem it credible, like not the comic company, D6, knock over that rock for me, and I think it's credible that the wolf can do it. You can use narratively appropriate animal interventions, right?
Okay.
But that brings us, I think, to an even more interesting question: is how would you like the animals to work? How would you like the creatures to work?
I mean, I think like you described it now a little bit more clearly, because I think I was kind of existing in a place where I didn't exactly know how they were meant to behave. I think that I'm fine kind of just riding with that like the way it is for now, and then just when we get in situations where we can turn to an animal to have them help us, I think it'll start to kind of just solidify. The roles will start to solidify in my mind. So I think at this stage, it's fine. I don't need them to behave any differently just yet. Just kind of keep evolving and seeing, what kind of roles they play.
Cool.
As we go along.
I have a question regarding the animals.
Mhm.
So throughout the game, I've just been picturing them, narratively picturing them, uh, that they're just tagging along. They're
Mm.
following underfoot kind of thing, the way you would a dog or a cat or any other um, animal companion, especially since they've been tamed. Um, is it How does it work mechanically? Let's say I had an animal with me, and I did slip into that river of goo.
Mhm.
What happens with the animal?
So generally, I'm having the animal fare as the trainer fares. So if you're stuck in the goo, your animals are probably either stuck with you, or given that you're their tamer, they're kind of unsure what to do until you get yourself out, right? So yeah, that is an interesting ambiguity, right? But generally, I've just been presuming that if you're in the middle of a gas vent, they're with you. The flip side though is because they're kind of alien creatures, they're kind of built for these environments. They're not as fragile as the humans are, right? So possibly they're laughing at you, as they watch all this unfold, if that makes sense.
But then, not so, but not every creature though is built for every environment.
That is true.
So, so I guess the molten beetle, obviously pretty chill on the lava planet, but not necessarily here. But maybe it's got like a high stamina, I guess. Um, so I don't know. So maybe it is kind of fine here. But yeah, I'm kind of wondering. Okay, so D6, like, what's he built for?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Right.
So
Would
kind
we,
of.
go ahead.
What are you gonna say?
I was just wondering, would we like some sort of damage track for the animals? Would that be interesting? We think.
Yeah, because then that would. I mean, because then that adds a complication, right? We have to be paying attention to what we're doing and what the environment's doing. But if we've taken the time to spend our resources to tame these creatures, then there should be some stakes involved having them with us. Because otherwise, it feels like no matter what, they're cool. They're just kind of hanging around until we activate them.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, so yeah, I think that it could be more interesting if we have to pay attention to how they're reacting in the environment, how the environment's reacting to them.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. I think it makes total sense. We gained them as a resource. There should also be the potential to lose that resource.
Mhm.
Um, and but and at the same time, I also think to myself, it's GM's discretion on how to narratively control them. Maybe
Mhm.
the option is on the table to keep them all together and waiting on the ship, or um, while we're doing our thing, or whatever like that. So, but I do like the idea that we gained this resource, but it's not a a an unlosable resource.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, all good ideas for me to think on. So yeah, Blanca, did you have something to add or?
No, I think I'm good. I'm still taking it all in. It's so new to me, so every day is different. So I'm just like learning, listening. I'm still learning what I'm supposed to do in the game myself. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yes, I like everybody's ideas as well, how they're contributing.
Cool. How about we take 5 real quick, and then
Nope.
yeah, and actually, Arwen, you're probably getting close to the time you need to head on out.
Yeah, about 15 minutes,
50 minutes.
something like
Actually,
Well,
that.
let's not
I
take
mean,
5 then.
I was going to say I don't mind continuing until Arwen can't play anymore.
Cool. Yeah, we'll take 5 at 9. I'm gonna start again. Cool. And so what I would like us to experiment with now is you all have this computer, and you also, everyone's just kind of, cleaning themselves off and whatnot after all this went down. This might be a bit of a narrative jump in time, because I imagine you'd be researching the computer first and handling, what just happened first. But while Arwen's here, the bubble is going to give you all chances to search for resources, and I'm going to let you all decide which resource you want to try and get. And then I want us to try the new alchemy system to see if we like it, and that will be what we try now. So I'm going to move us to our home page, and I think this is our home page. This is the old alchemy system. If I can...
Was something, if you don't mind me jumping back a second.
Mm-hmm.
And I was repairing the generators.
Mm-hmm.
There were two of them that were, at least there were two that you mentioned, were missing strange sap.
Mm-hmm.
Did it make sense that I would expend strange sap that I currently have to repair those generators, since the strange sap was technically gone?
We'll presume that the life support bubble, or the people who made the life support bubble want to survive. So whatever you spent. I'm also kind of imagining that your solution is a bit of a jerry rig, right? So like the generators are up, you're safe right now, but it's the patchwork that's going to get us through the next hour. Well, so until we can build the real solution, right? So I don't think you would have spent anything of your own, or at least nothing that we're going to track in game currencies, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Checking.
So, and I should, so does everyone see kind of our homepage with the aliens and everything else?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we'll go in a circle. Arwen, what resource would your character like to try and gather?
What are we low on?
You have only one odd ore and only 2 molten minerals, and you have a lot of helpful herbs, and 3 and 4 arcane algae and strange sap, respectively. So your lowest are the molten minerals and the odd ores.
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna go for odd ore, since it seems like technology is the stat that is most closely related to molten mineral. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna go for odd ore then.
Cool. Check your might.
It's on the nose again.
All right. So what we decided actually is that meets crits. So you get the 4 odd ores maximum amount. At this point, if you're able to pull up that kind of cheat sheet I sent to the chat.
Yep.
If not, no. Actually, maybe I'll just share my screen if that's easier.
I printed mine out because I'm old school.
Cool. And I want just share the whole screen. Perfect. Okay. So you for resources, you were doing odd ore. You got a crit, so you get 4, and that 1, 2, 3, 4. And Blanca, what would you like to be doing? Collecting.
Okay, so let's see. So what are the options to collect? Is it helpful herbs, molten minerals? Is that what we're collecting?
Yep.
Okay. I have a question regarding that because on the stat sheet that you made for my character, there were 3 of them that didn't have numbers on them. So I don't know.
3 of them didn't have numbers?
This is my first time. No, like, I don't know how to share my screen, but, like, for example, helpful herbs says pet stat 3 pets, molten mineral spot stat 2 bots. Meanwhile, strange sap, arcane algae, and odd ore don't have anything.
Right. Because that's for that's for what minions you can collect. But you have abilities for all the abilities, right?
Oh, okay. Yes. So that's what I roll for.
So what are you collecting?
Okay. So let's see. I will collect. Let's see. Which ones are we missing? That I can help the team gain more of.
So we are currently low on molten minerals. If you want to try tech, arcane algae and strange sap are also it wouldn't hurt to have more. But yeah.
Okay. So let's see. I will try strange sap.
Okay.
So
go ahead and roll focus.
Okay. Focus. Okay. Yes, worked out.
All right, another crit. That's awesome. So you get you get a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Perfect. And Big Dog, what would you like to collect?
I apologize for asking you to repeat yourself because I was focusing on something else. But what did you say before that we were low on?
Molten minerals and arcane algae are our lowest right now.
Molten minerals is my favorite, so I'm going to go for the molten minerals. I'm rolling what again now?
Molten minerals is with tech, so go ahead and roll against tech.
All right, I got a 15 under 17.
Perfect. So that's not a crit. So we will roll the d4. And sadly, you get a molten mineral.
Okay.
Cool. So what we're going to try now is, let's say the party has some time, and they want to build some power-ups for themselves. These are kind of the new. This is kind of the new power-up chart. Can everyone see it on my screen?
I think so.
No.
Wait. What are we supposed to be looking for?
You can see the chart on my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Not anymore. There it is.
Yeah. So, this is the current alchemy system. The idea is, if you want your potion to be a one-use effect, I use it once, it does its thing, and that's that. We pick the resource that's most related to that thing. You have your price, and you get your one-use thing. If you want to have a power-up that you can call on more than once, we work out what narrative effect you want, but then we would use, one of these prices. And when you get more uses, you kind of have to more circumspectly define what your potion does. So if you say, I want a smoke bomb, and, you're not for knowing or deciding what you want to use your smoke bomb for. You just know you want a one-use power-up smoke bomb. We would use this first chart right here. If you say, I want to make a smoke bomb and I want it to allow me to re-roll stealth checks with agility, So we would say I can re-roll when I use agility for hiding from someone because I have my smoke bomb up. Because you've defined it specifically as for this purpose, we kind of have a more solidified game mechanic for it. You get 3 uses out of it. So it kind of circumspects your choices, but you get the additional uses. Does that make sense?
To me, yep.
I'm hearing silence from the other two.
Okay, so when you go ahead and show us the screen again, please.
Mm-hmm.
So when we want to make a potion, for one-time use, we only can roll once.
So for a one-time use, it might not even be a roll thing at all. If you say, I want a one-time use, acid thing, we just know you have a thing of acid on you, and we're going to deal with what it does when you use it, right? We're not deciding what. And you don't have to roll to make a potion. You just have to pay the price, in resources.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the resources are the ones we were using right now or collecting?
Correct.
Oh, okay. And does everybody have different resources, or do we have resources as a team?
I mean, you all can, choose to hoard your resources to yourselves, but, I think the party goes farther if you all share, oh, I need one more to make this, okay, here you go. So generally, I think it's, the party's store of resources.
Okay, that makes sense.
It depends on the character, too, because I could picture Big Dog keeping some things to himself.
Mm-hmm. So Dennis, I think you've had the most, exposure to this since we were talking before game. Why don't you give a crack at it? What is something you would like, Big Dog would like to make for future use?
Oh, yeah, okay. Let's see. Let's see. I would like to create. When you say create a structure in the explanation, structure, are you talking about like I'm building a wall or a
wall, a bridge, okay. Yeah.
Gotcha. So I would like to, since a lot of these environments that we're dealing with have areas that we have to traverse that are somewhat dangerous, I'd like to be able to build a structure or create a structure, the ability to create a structure that that I can do with multiple. More than one use, but can work in. Oh, you know what? The fact that you have radioactive environment there. Are our suits protects us from radiation?
You might want at a further point in the game, you all might want to reinforce them, but you're all fine for now.
All right. Well, I'd like to be ability to create a structure, whether it be a wall or a bridge or anything like that, for multiple uses, and that would work in, I'll say, hot or cold, very well in hot and cold environments.
Cool. So you're imagining a bridge for multiple uses?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I think that's. Go ahead.
But should I guess or should I try to figure out what the cost would be?
Sure.
So I'm seeing that it would be I would pay 3 odd ore plus actually it would be 4 odd ore plus 2 arcane algae. Is that correct? I'm sorry, no. I said hot and cold, not the radioactive. So it'd be 4 um, odd ore and 1 molten mineral.
Correct. Yeah. So, uh, yeah, you want so you're kind of taking your base price 3 odd ore, you're adding an additional use, so 4, and
Okay.
then you want to make sure it can work in very hot or very cold environments. That adds, your molten minerals. Um, so yeah, I think that's a fair use of the tables, fair use of the things. We would go here. This is where we're keeping the things. So odd or spent, odd or spent, odd or spent for the base price. You want another use. And then you're
Molten
paying a
mineral.
molten minerals. And I'll let you have like 3 uses of the thing for that. And so yeah, that would be, I think, a fair charge for that potion, and write down for the party's inventory that we have it.
All right, and I would have, and I didn't. I should have, but I would have normally then asked the rest of the party, "Hey, I'd like to, because I'd be expending party loot technically, saying, "Hey, are you guys okay with me building, doing this?" So I'll add it to the inventory. I'll add it to our inventory.
Perfect.
Could you explain? Could you explain which sections on the no, not that one, the one where we have the resources? Which one represents which resources we have? Like the water over there has 3 little aliens. What does that one mean?
Yeah, so that would be the arcane algae, because you get it from water.
Okay.
This one, it's hard to see with the aliens covering it all, but there's kind of like a wounded hand here. So that's the helpful
Okay.
herbs, and there it is holding like a flower, trying to get some healing from the plant life. The fiery one is our molten minerals. This, I'm not sure how clear the picture is, but it is kind of like a forge. So that's the odd ore, that can make structures. And then the strange sap comes from plants, and again, hard to see with all the aliens blocking it now. But yeah, this is what you get from the woods.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks.
Blanca. And I'm gonna find the chart. So does your character want to make a one-use potion, or do they want to? I don't know. I guess maybe just first narratively before getting into the charts. What kind of thing would your character like to make?
Wait, but what is the need for me to make one? Like, for example, if I wanted to do a healing potion, would I need herbs, or are those different if I wanted to make one of those?
The herbs have the ability to do a standard stamina heal. So yeah, that is something you can use with herbs.
But
So
would these be specifically with the party resources that we have? Is that using the potions, using some of the ingredients from the resources we have? That's how we could make the potions, correct?
correct.
Okay, so let me try. Let's see. What exactly is an odd ore? Is that something related to rocks and fire?
Kind of, yeah. It's kind of the rock element, being mined.
Okay. Let's see. Since we're running low on molten minerals, should I keep off from touching those?
Not necessarily. But first off, I mean, what sort of things does your character want to consider making? Right? Like maybe we'll decide it's too expensive later. But what sort of things would your character like to make?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The thing is, I don't know the options of what they can make, so I'm having trouble picturing it in my mind of
It's a narrative game, so there isn't a list of options. So I mean, you've been in a dangerous planet, you kind of know what kind of problems you tend to run into. Do you feel like having anything?
Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we are in an acidic place, for some reason I was thinking about a base, so it would kind of create a buffer, so the acidic portion wouldn't ruin our spacesuits. So maybe creating a type of something that's more basic than acidic would counter the acidity to create a buffer, perhaps. That's
I
what
like it.
Thinking.
So, let's say, we'll you build some sort of fumes that you can call upon to resist acidic environments. So we can say when you, I can re-roll. We're gonna kind of use my potion makes me do an action better. We're gonna bend it slightly, make it my potion helps me do a resist better. So I can re-roll when I'm using my stamina for resisting acid. So I'll have, looking at the chart, it would have 3 uses. And for a base, I think I can well, let's look at the party resources.
Which resource would we use to create that base?
I think you can go with either arcane algae or strange sap. They're kind of the more chemically ones. You have more strange sap than algae, so we can take from that pile if you like.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Perfect. And that's kind of the magic of the system, right? Like in Dungeons and Dragons, there's like the spell list, right? And like 3/4 of the player's handbook is just the endless list of spells. What I'm hoping that the players will find with this is, we come up with a problem we want to solve. We have acid. Well, what's the credible, narratively appropriate solution? A base. Okay, so what what resources are kind of chemically okay? That gives us strange sap. I want to use it 3 times. I'm here on the chart. Bam. Without having a list of spells, we were able to just kind of homebrew a potion. And I do like the double meaning there, homebrew a potion, to build a solution. So, yeah. Does that kind of make sense? Any comments from anyone? Yeah.
So we would use three resources. Like if it says a 3 on it, we would use 3 strange sap.
Right. So like here it says price, and below that has 3 of the appropriate basic resource. So yeah, it would cost 3.
Okay. And we could use it 3 times.
Yep. 3 uses. So. Dennis, you've been in RPGs for many years. What do you think of the alchemy system in its current state?
I like it. I think it's a great idea. Definitely offers a lot more flexibility, and constantly wondering if you can do something and where, like, all right, I know it's in one of these books. What page? And you're reading all the descriptions, because it's similar to a spell without having to really define a ton of spells. And since it's kind of logical that it's kind of wrapped around physics, you can make that determination of, okay, I want to use it in a hot environment, I want to use it in a cold environment, I want to use a radioactive situation. And I like that a lot. The one thing that I was going to ask you about was when you want to add additional uses, you have it noted about let me see, let me go to it. Can add 1 or more uses. What determines that? How many?
So each odd or rules as written adds an additional use. But I don't want people who happen to have 10 odd ors being like, yep, and this potion's now part of the game, for the rest of the campaign, right? It's I kind of want there to be like an upper cap to how many times it can be used.
Okay, I kind of figured as much. And the other question that I had was, I was reading the description of the works in very hot or very cold environments, or the explanation. It says a stabilizer is needed in the potion. Does that mean that I should have also added an arcane algae to that recipe, because it looks like arcane algae is the stabilizer, one just below it.
So yeah, and actually, this I've been rewriting this so many times. I changed this to I created the keyword plasma. So hot or very cold is kind of vague. So in the book, I've given certain environments the plasma keyword, and basically, if you're going to want your potion to work there, it costs one more molten minerals. Because again, it's presumably so close to this star, right, that things are turning, in the plasma. If they stay there too much, it would seem that some sort of stabilizer is needed to make sense. So yeah, I'm hoping that keyword, having a keyword instead of just the vague, very hot or very cold, kind of makes it clearer when that's needed or when it's not. But like this acid planet isn't, right next to, the solar system star. You're fine without a stabilizer for the time being.
Okay.
Question.
Hey.
So going back to the list, if it says NA, what does that mean? Like not applicable? Like you cannot use it multiple times?
So I mean, these are the add-on traits, right? So the uses, like whether you add a stabilizer or not, doesn't impact how many times it can be used. It just impacts where it can be used. If you have this potion with 3 uses and you add molten minerals, you're still at 3 uses. It doesn't change the number.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, nothing else is jumping out at me. I like it. I like it a lot. Maybe limiting how many you can have at one point would be a way to go.
Well, that's in part what the pet and bot stats are meant to do, but I also think like my pet and bot stats are too generous, so I might have to because if you can have 4 and you can have 4 and you can have 4, then we have petting a zoo. So I might very much tighten up, what people can own. What was I gonna say? Pets. Oh yes, and I guess a lot of the pets will be able to convert resources, and when they're converting resources, you can't bring them with you, right? They have to be at camp, converting the resource you want them to convert. So I think that also, will help, because if you have 5 animals, but, you have 2 of them back at the camp converting resources for you, that means narratively, when you're in the anvil of the hostile environment, you're only keeping track of 3, right? I'm hoping having the mechanic where they have something to do back at camp, kind of allows them to be like a resource, right? Like a farmer has his horses as a resource. They don't bring every horse out with them, every day, right? So, yeah.
Oh, can I share something? So, right now that you were sharing about the petting zoo, that was funny. But at the same time, a long, long time ago, when I used to play video games with my brother, the character named Kururu, where I got it from, had puppets, and they were not necessarily animals, but they were kind of like characters that were part of your protection team in a way. So they had multiple of them, and they also had like some type of potion, and they called it antidotes. So they had like a list of all the different kinds of potions or antidotes that could help heal the puppets, so that if they ever had to be in battle, they were able to look in their little kit and see, oh, my character can use this antidote, and then they kind of could use it to attack the enemies or protect them for healing, things like that. So yeah.
So and I'm definitely going for that creature collecting vibe with this, because it's a mechanic I've enjoyed, right? With Pokemon, with even with like Final Fantasy. Oh, not really Final Fantasy, but there's JRPGs where you collect creatures and whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the closest experience I've had with RPGs.
Hey, you're doing very good. And not many people have their first exposure to tabletop role-playing games be a game that isn't made by a game writer. So it's congrats to hopping in on this. So
thanks for inviting me. I think it's so neat. After looking at the whole handbook you sent the link to, I was like, oh my goodness, this could be a research project, because my research project was like 80 pages also. I was like, oh, I like your the way you formatted it. I was like, oh, I wish I could have had that one. It looks simple and professional and clean. Yeah, I'm like, cool.
Use that exact word earlier tonight.
Where do you find the time to make it?
I mean, and just like as a kind of a personality note for me is like I often have like just two things in my mind at one time, right? So if I'm doing something just with my hands or whatever, whether this is good, bad, or otherwise, there's the thing I'm doing, and then creative things kind of float around, kind of in track too. So that's part of it, and part of it's just I've run back when the Martian Society, I was putting a lot of time into the Martian Society. I kind of got the opportunity to just kind of learn how RPGs work, right? I got to play a lot of games. I got to see, like, this uses a dice roll under system, and I learned from Call of Cthulhu that I actually really like dice roll under systems, right? Cthulhu uses the D100, which is nice because people intuitively understand, 75%, 50%, right? I use the D20 just because if it's going to be a lot of rolls, which this game is, I feel like the D20 is just easier to throw around, and you multiply by 5 and you have your percentage, right? If you wanted to know what your percentage is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, I think that's what allows me to do this, and I've just little bits of time here and there, right? So it's been a long time in terms of like weeks and months that this project's been active, right? Because I have a real job, real world, all that stuff. But a little bit here, a week goes by, a little bit there, and it comes along.
Nice. Wow.
From what I can tell, it was well done. So,
oh, thank you.
Goes to you.
Mm-hmm. Thumbs up.
I like the additional art that you've been popping in there.
Oh, thank you. I've been really enjoying learning Photoshop. Yeah, and there's a neat filter Photoshop has that allows me to kind of comic bookize things once it looks how I want it to look, and so yeah, it's fun. So,
and these maps, you've created all these maps yourself too, right?
Right, the maps are from using Incarnate, and their license allows you to use your maps pretty much for any use as long as it's not to make a map making software, which makes sense. You can't use Incarnate to compete with Incarnate. Yeah, so that's a really nice resource to have, for images as well. So, or map images particularly, yeah.
They look fun.
So, kind of entering narrative mode. You all have had this experience, and again, this potion making probably happened after this scene we were discussing now, because you would have needed time to sit down, talk, how we're going to mix this, whatnot. So kind of backing up in time, the life support bubble shields behind you, the generators are stabilized, you've passed along that, hey, the ones with strange sap are missing strange sap, they're going to fill those up. And you have this stolen computer, and right now everyone's sort of busy, so no one's noticing it's gone. I don't know, what do people want to be doing?
Wait, what happened to the computer?
You have it. I mean, they're like the people you stole it from, or rather, the person you stole doesn't know it's gone. You have
so
it.
They did a nice. Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm very good with computers. I can take a crack at this one as well.
Go on ahead.
Okay, yes, I'll hand it over to you.
All right. I'm going to find a nice piece out of eye shot of its own and roll an 18 over 17.
18 over 17.
Yeah,
So
I'm not so good at
you do get in. You pull up the data, but suddenly you hear like a buzzer go off on Radson himself, and he kind of knows that like your cell phone says, we have a new login attempt. Is it you? Have you used two-factor authentication type deal?
all the time.
Yeah. So he gets his two-factor authentication. You are able to hack in, but he knows that you've used the computer. And so now there's this he comes to you, Emmett comes to you as well, and right now there's this like tense standoff between Emmett and Radson again. Emmett wants to see inside the computer. I'll let you have the first word before they start talking.
So wait a second. So they know that I was the one
that was logging in, right? Because I mean, it's in your hands, right? So they knew someone or rather, Emmett always knew because he wanted you to do it. Radson,
Right.
however, you rolled over your tech, so you tripped the firewall or whatever, and now he kind of went for his computer as he sees you, and we have an awkward
he did
situation.
see me. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was wondering. Okay, so he's approaching me, and so I wasn't successly able to break into it.
You were able to
just
break
set off
in.
in a
So the penalty
I
for
was
rolling
able to break
over is, he knows, right? And you haven't had the chance to look through yet, but, he is here. And Emmett and Radson will probably start arguing again unless someone interrupts them.
Okay. I'm going to say that oh gosh, what do I say? In the heat of the moment, I'm just going to say it's a force of habit. My line of work, force of habit. I see computers and I instantly need to use them, and I have a knack for opening them. So, but and then I'm going to, so that way I don't hand the laptop back over as sorry. I'm going to say, but I saw something interesting on this one, and I'm not going to say what I saw.
And make a dominance check, actually, because you're kind of bluffing. So yeah, I'm kind of curious how well the bluff goes off.
All right, and not so well. It's a 12 over 10.
What did you see? Describe this something. Radson.
He's saying that to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, well, it's hard to describe, but you know what? I'm going to take a little bit more time to look over it, and then I can tell you. And if he makes any attempts to take the laptop back, I'm going to do that kind of thing where I kind of reflect and put myself between him and the laptop, like a NBA player trying to take the basketball away from another player.
Mm-hmm.
As I continue to keep, do not let him getting his hands on the laptop.
Right. So Emmett and Radson start arguing with each other, which does give you a few spare moments to look through the laptop. You may have lost some brownie points with Radson diplomatically. That's not a game term. Just you've lost your. He doesn't think too highly of you all. But you do see very clearly that this computer has a computer program that is designed to falsify data, it's for lack of a better term, the Chat GPT of the future, right? So it's so they're here for some sort of experiment. You have the original experiment files, and you have the doctored experiment files. And so I guess the question now is, do you just say out loud, so you've been faking stuff, or what would you like to do?
I'm actually gonna. Okay, so I see both the non-doctored and the doctored.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to say, this is interesting. This is interesting. I'm seeing two sets of information here. Two conflicting. They appear identical at first, but the more I look at them, there's clearly discrepancies between the two. And am I able to tell what the information is referring to?
Let's have
and then I'm going to turn around and I'm
chemist
going to
see
say,
if she understands. Make me a focus check to kind of interpret the data, Blanca.
Okay. So okay, so which hold on. I keep forgetting the name of it. Which stat do you want me to check? Focus?
Focus.
Okay. Okay. Yes, I got 3 under 13.
3 under 13, nice. So you realize that these are genetic samples of mutations. At first, you don't think anything of it because enhancing your creatures is very often done in this universe. You make them stronger, better, but then you realize this isn't a creature that's been mutated, it's a human. Not as easy to do since we are not designed to mutate the way these creatures are. And furthermore, it's very clear with the 3 under 13 that the data has been falsified to make it look like there aren't any side effects, but there are totally being side effects. And in fact, you're not sure if the mutation is ever going to stop escalating. Meaning, the test subject is human as far as you know now, but may not remain that way. So this is, by the way, highly illegal in this universe. And I've actually...
it's not ethical.
Yeah. Above game, the mutation table has been modified to make it clear to the players that they're mutating pets, not people. Because in the lore of this world, very, very frowned upon, and for very good reasons. They've had, upheaval recently, that with the Great War, mutations were part of that. So some very illegal stuff is going down here.
Oh no. So the computer is giving us the data that a human has been mutated. And is that human in the bubble with us, or like in the space shuttle, or
do you ask
where are they? Yes.
Well, that's interesting. When he learns everything you found out. Side effects, you say? Side effects, he says to Ratzone. I know you were hiding something. And he says, one of our team, Licention, has gone missing. And we were told, he says to Ratzone, that he was sent to the Hive to gather more mutagen, and that he would be back soon. But tell us, Ratzone, where is he really right now? Well, this whole moon is a hive, so, strictly speaking, he is at the Hive. I didn't lie, but his geographic coordinates are not known with a high degree of accuracy at this time. I'm sure he's fine, and I dispute the claim that he has side effects. He is doing amazingly, and, at this point, everyone's just disgusted with it.
Oh, so are we heading to the hive too because we were on a mission to get there in the first place? Are they in the same hive we were going to?
Right. This whole moon is kind of what the moon mason bees are converting into their hive right now. So you're on the surface, an area that hasn't been very well converted yet. Because it's a new installation, right? They found this moon. We're converting it over. And moon mason bees, just kind of for world lore, they aren't an existential threat the way, say, the swarm is in Starfinder, right? They do their thing. If they're going to a moon you don't particularly like, we found a way to chase them off. But they can be a pest, a nuisance, right? If they're trying to convert a moon, you need them to not convert. But generally, we let them do their thing, and we do ours. So kind of like real bees, we may not particularly like them, but they're also not the swarm, right? That's gonna consume everything, right? They're in balance with the galaxy's nature. But they do make mutagens, which is how they do a lot of what they do. And so now you have this situation where a human test subject, who may or may not be in full control of his humanity at the current moment, has gone missing. And
Is
I
he
don't know.
Licention?
Yeah,
Is his name
Licention.
Licention?
Yeah.
Licention. Okay.
I can explain the logic to the names a little later. I don't want to give plot away quite yet.
Okay.
So based off of what you said, or based off of what Rat Zone said, we cannot determine exactly where he is
Correct.
at the moment. We only know that he had gone missing, and he was sent to the hive
Mm-hmm.
to gather more mutagen.
More mutagen, and the bees have been bringing back some interesting artifacts from Demeter VI. We thought, this is Ratzone speaking. We thought maybe we could learn from them, and at this point, enough of the truth has come out that Emmett is able to put the pieces together and give you some useful exposition. The Great Space Empire is rumored to have been able to perfect various forms of alchemy and mutations and all that. Some people believe that is why the Space Empire fell. They got too powerful for their own good. And one of the reasons why this team of genetic researchers are here is they are considering the possibility that Demeter VI was really once in the day a laboratory, and that there might still be lab materials to find within the core. And suddenly, I think your character, Blanca Kururu, would realize why the eyes sent you here. It needed you to understand why the corporation wants this rock, Demeter VI, so badly, why other people want this so badly, and it knew if you came here, you'd be able to put the pieces together, right? This is an ancient laboratory.
Ratzone and Emmett were fighting because of the Licention being at the hive, and...
Yeah, Ratzone told Licention, he's totally fine, he's gathering stuff. The real truth is he kind of went into mutation mode and is now missing in action. And to what extent this mutation may or may not be reversible is not known at this time.
Fled the lab, and so Major will say to Ruru, it seems that Ascension, since Ascension is mutating, is possibly drawn to the hive. And then I'll turn to Red Zone and say, what were you mutating him into?
I was just trying to perfect certain deficiencies in the human genome to ensure that he would never get any genetically related disease. Again, running short on time. He gives the monologue. He's definitely, at the very least, eugenist adjacent, right? He's not killing anyone, for his genetic hopes of superiority or perfection of the human race, quote unquote. But he definitely has a clearly utopian, that's really dystopian if you could see clearly, view of what the human race should be, purged of anything that could have imperfections. And you realize the reason why things probably went wrong is he was trying to do everything, right? He wanted him to not have any diseases, he wanted him to be stronger, and so you have no clue what he is mutating into at this time. It could be anything.
Well, in your attempts to purify a human who, in fact, infected and basically created an imperfection of your own, an unnatural imperfection.
And he stays silent. He doesn't have a comeback. He
So
But it
if
turns
he
to.
made a...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You
So
get
if he was mutated, does that mean he can turn into a creature instead of being human?
That's a frightening thought, he says. Again, not intended. At this point, Emmett says, we were told we had more narrow goals for this collection and experimentation mission than a full rewrite above game. That doesn't really get Emmett off the ethical hook at all. He's better by comparison, I guess, to Rat Zone. But yeah, you're in this group of illegal geneticists, and they've kind of are being forced to accept right now that they done goofed. And they say, are you willing to... Well, first off, why are you here? Because you haven't told them why you're here.
And I'm not going to. Are you Rue?
I'm afraid I cannot tell you. I'm only here with my team. We're on a mission to find the beehive, and on our way there, we just realized that who you have mutated is also where we're heading.
Maybe while you're there, you could retrieve him for us. We would pay you handsomely in blockchain as long as you don't ask too many source questions as to where the money is sourced.
I need to have a talk with Big Dog.
Major
do there?
Major is going to say to Kururu, definitely could see if we can
Good idea.
Get ascension, because there's no telling what he will develop into, and that is most important. And that very instant that I say that is most important, I'm going to turn to Emmett and Ratson and say exactly how much blockchain.
Okay, go ahead.
Make a dominance check, kind of as you're bargaining, right?
Right.
Do I
got a 2 under 10.
And yeah, they're scared. They're gonna get arrested if this gets out. They're gonna give you a nice motherload of blockchain to, help you all out. And a lot of good can come of that. And clearly, what they're doing with it isn't good. So you can relieve those funds from their hands.
Okay. And then what I would like to do is I would like to do what I did before with the other computer and set my own password on this laptop that is still in my possession.
All right, and again, you changed another laptop's password. I'm sensing a recurring theme here. You weren't here, Blacka, but he changed the passcode of the heat shield there as well to keep it out of bad hands. So
You know what? He did that on the first time I was here too.
so
And then once I do that, I'll close the laptop and I'll shove it back at him.
alrighty, and that brings us to 9:45. And so I think I don't think we can pull the next scene off in 15 minutes. So what I'm thinking is season finale is next weekend, and kind of your goal is to find L'Ascension, and even more importantly, see if there's something in the hive that the Eye wanted you to find, something that can ensure that the settlers of Demeter VI are safe.